Welcome to part 3. We are going to continue on with row 17, which is a repeat of row 10, which is the chin and forehead. So what we will be doing is we will be creating a chin on the chain 7 spaces and forehead on the skulls that we have previously made. So go ahead, and I will let you know that I had already done part 3, and unfortunately I lost it. Isn't that a bummer? That is a real bummer. I lost all my work. So I'm going to just zoom out a little bit here. But we are starting on row 17, which is a repeat of row 10. So go ahead and put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. And again, that is 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in the same space to complete that shell. Okay. Let's chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to put 7 double crochets in this chain 7 space over the chain to create that chin. Okay, so here's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. 1 and 2. Okay. And let's see. Let's chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to skip the first stitch along his brow. Okay. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to skip that very last stitch, and we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Let's chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to put 7 double crochets in the chain 7 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, slide that over a little bit, and 7. And I don't know if I mentioned it to where you understood, but I actually had done the entire part 3, chain 3, and put a shell in the chain one space of the shell from the previous row. But yeah, I had gone ahead and I did the entire part 3 and I lost the entire thing. 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same chain 1 shell space to complete this shell. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And let's skip the first stitch on the brow here and then do a single crochet in the next 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're going to skip the last stitch right there. Okay, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put 7 double crochets in the chain 7 space to make a third chin for our third skull. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell and complete row 17. Chain 3 and turn your work. 1, 2, 3. Yes, it was very frustrating to lose all that work because there's a lot of work that goes into it. Not just the crocheting, but if things happen, like my cats start racing around here, I've got to stop and start. If I make a mistake, I've got to edit it out. If my phone battery dies, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was very, very frustrating. And I will tell you that it is after 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep because I did all that work. And so I got back up. And so here I am. Let's go on to row 18, or a repeat of row 11, which is the mouth and the forehead. Let's put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. That's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. I just had a cat climb up here. I hope she doesn't get in my lap. Chain 1, 2 more double crochets. They're not used to mommy being up this late, so they're kind of wandering around going, "Hey mom, what are you doing here?" Okay, let's chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to single crochet in the first double crochet right here. Okay, so let's see if you can see that. This is the chin. Here's our first double crochet. So let's put a single crochet right there. And now we're going to be creating the mouth openings. So go ahead and chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and put a single crochet in the last double crochet of the chin stitches. Okay, there we go. So now you can see that we have created the mouth opening right here. See? Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain one space of the shell from the previous row. There's 1 double crochet. There's 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that same space to finish up this shell. Okay, and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to skip the first 2 stitches on his brow. Okay, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. Don't forget to skip those first 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we are going to skip the last 2 stitches, okay? And then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets. Oops, sorry. 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Can you tell it's late? 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Okay. And chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and again we are working on the chin, so we are going to single crochet in this first double crochet, okay. And then we're going to chain 7 to create the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We are going to single crochet in the last double crochet. Okay. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets to in the same space to complete that shell. Okay. And chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we're going to skip 2 stitches on the forehead, 1, 2, and we're going to single crochet in the next 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, yarn split, 5 and 6, skip the last 2, skip these last 2 stitches, 1, 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell from the previous row, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we're working on the mouth, so put a single crochet in the first double crochet and then chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, put a single crochet in the last double crochet of the chin space. Oops, pulled my hook right back out of there. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell and complete row 18. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn your work, and we will start on row 19, or a repeat of row 12. Okay, this is the lip and forehead. Okay, so we created the mouth. We did the chin, we did the mouth, and now we're going to do the upper lip and continue on with the forehead. Okay. And because it's so late, I'm wondering if I should keep working, but I think I will. We'll go ahead and do row 19. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 more double crochet to complete that shell. Okay. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in this single crochet where we created the chain 7 for the mouth. Now you're going to put 7 single crochets in this chain 7 space right over that chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, single crochet in this single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same chain 1 space to complete that shell. 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then we're going to skip the first stitch and single crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to skip this last stitch, okay? And then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Oops. Okay, chain 3, 1. Let me pull out some yarn here, guys. There we go, I think. 2, 3 chains, okay? And single crochet in this single crochet right here where we created that mouth. And then 7 single crochets in this chain 7 space. 1, 2, my cats are going crazy, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now see how they're all kind of squunched up here? Go ahead and slide them out so they're evenly spaced on that chain 7, because that makes it look much nicer. Okay, single crochet in this single crochet. There we go. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to skip the first stitch and we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches on the forehead here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to skip that last stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that very same space to complete that shell. 1 and 2, and I've got a knot. Ah, got it out. Yay! Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in this single crochet by the chain 7 mouth. Okay, and 7 single crochets in this chain 7 space to create the upper lip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, you can go ahead and pull these out a little bit, evenly space them along that chain 7 so it looks nice. Single crochet in this single crochet at the end of the chain 7. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put your shell in the chain 1 space of the last shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that very same space to complete that shell and complete the row. Go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that was our lip and forehead row that we just worked on. It was row 12 or row 19. Okay, so turn your work and we will be repeating row 13, which is also row 20. Okay. Okay, so we are going to start on row 20 or a repeat of row 13, which is the nose and close. So you see we did the upper lip the last row on the 3 skull faces that we've created. And then we are going to be closing this gap here above the forehead or top of the head on the 2 skulls. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Oh, it's raining so hard here. I got about 5.5 hours sleep, got up, had some coffee, and I am finishing up part 3. Go ahead and put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row, which consists, as always, of 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and the last 2 double crochets in that same space. Okay, and there's the last 2 double crochets. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to single crochet in the first 3 stitches of the lip because we are getting ready to create the nose opening. Okay, so make sure you don't miss that first stitch. And there's 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. In the next stitch, put a double crochet. Oops. Oh, yarn splitting. Try that again. There we go. Okay, chain 1, that's for the nose opening. Skip the stitch and put a double crochet in the following stitch. Okay, and then end with 3 more single crochets in the next 3 stitches. I mean, a single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. And of course you're working in the same space there. All right. And then we're going to go directly, without chaining, we're going to jump right over to this shell. Okay, so just like that, and that closes that space above his head. Okay, so put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell in this row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that same chain 1 space to complete this shell. And then I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, see how that's closed that up? Okay, so it's closed up this space here. All right, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And again, we're going to be working on the nose. So we're going to single crochet in the first 3 stitches of the lip area that we created on the last row. So there's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and the 3rd one. Double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch to create the nose opening, and then double crochet in the following stitch. Okay, and end this lip area with single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So there's 1 single crochet, the next stitch, 1 single crochet, and the last stitch, 1 single crochet. Okay, pull up some more yarn here, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. And again, as always, that's 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that very same chain 1 space to complete that shell. And now, because we are over the skull, we are closing this space, so we're not going to chain. We're going to jump completely over to this next shell and put a shell in that chain 1 space. Okay, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. You can hear Ollie, my cat, in the background talking. Oh, what are you saying? He's got the most unique voice, and he is a Maine Coon. He's a big boy. Okay, let's chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We are working on the nose of this 3rd face. So go ahead and single crochet in the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1. Skip a stitch. And then double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and end this nose and mouth area by placing 1 single crochet in the last 3 stitches here. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the last shell of this row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that same chain 1 space to complete this shell and to complete row 20. Chain 3 and turn your work, and we will go on to row 21 or a repeat of row 14. Okay, my goodness, it is raining so hard here. Wow, just pouring. All right, so again, we are starting on row 20 or a repeat of row 14, which is called the eyes and the bridge, okay? So we are going to be creating the 2 eye sockets on the 3 skulls that we've been working on. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. I hope that this is clear enough for you. Okay, and so let's chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to half double crochet in the first stitch of this nose row. Okay, so again, a half double crochet, we wrap around our hook, we go into that stitch, we grab a loop, pull it through, it gives us 3 loops on our hook, we wrap and we go through all 3 at once. That is a half double crochet. Okay, now we're going to create the eye socket. So chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, try and keep your tension even so your stitches are pretty symmetrical. Go into the chain 1 space of the nose opening and do a single crochet. Okay, and now chain 7 to create the second eye socket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, you can always move your fingers up to hold your work so that your tension remains the way you would like it. In the last stitch of that nose row we did previously, go ahead and put a half double crochet. Again, wrap, go into the stitch, wrap and pull through a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook, wrap and go through all 3 at once. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now this is called the bridge. So go ahead and put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and in the same space put 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. And there's the second one. Okay, now instead of chaining 3, we're only going to chain 2. 1, 2. Okay, now put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell. Okay, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we are going to be creating the eyes on the next skull. So do your half double crochet in the first stitch of that nose row, 3 loops, wrap and pull through all 3, chain 7 to create the eye, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, go into the chain 1 nose space opening and do a single crochet, chain 7 to create the second eye, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Do a half double crochet in the last stitch of the nose row on this particular skull. Wrap, go through the stitch, wrap, pull through a loop, 3 loops on your hook, wrap, go through all 3 at once. Okay, and let's chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same chain 1 space to complete the shell. Okay, again, this is going to be the bridge area, so we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, put a shell in the next chain 1 space of the following shell from the previous row, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in the same space to complete that shell. I feel like a robot repeating the same thing over and over. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We are going to be creating the eye sockets on the third skull face on this row. So in the first stitch, put your half double crochet. Okay. Chain 7 to create the first eye socket. 2, 3, whoops, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Put a single crochet in the chain 1 nose space and chain 7 for the second eye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put your half double in the last stitch of this nose row that we're working on. I like to turn my stitches so they look correct. Okay. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell and complete row 20, or a repeat of row, what did I say, what row we're working on? 14. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn your work, and we will repeat row 15, or we will also be working on row 21. Okay. Row 15 is called the increase row, and what that means is we are going to start increasing so that we can prepare to create 4 skulls as we continue on the next several rows. Okay. All right. So in the increase row, as you probably remember, we will be putting a double shell in the beginning and the end shells. Okay. So make sure I'm in camera good here. Put your first shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. And of course, as always, that's 2 double crochets, a chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. And since we're doing a double shell in here, we're going to separate by a chain 2. So chain 2, put 1 more shell in that very same chain 1 space. Okay. So that's 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that second shell in the same space. There's 1 and 2. Sorry, my yarn is not flowing freely here for me. Okay, chain 3. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to single crochet in the half double crochet that we did on the previous row when we created the eyes. Okay. And now we are going to do 7 single crochets over this first eye, right in that space and over the chain. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And go ahead and pull your stitches across so that they're evenly spaced, so that that brow looks nice and symmetrical. Okay, and go ahead and skip this single crochet that we put in the nose opening and go to the next chain 7 eye opening, and over that chain and through that space put 7 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and put a single crochet in the half double crochet from the previous row. Okay, you can check your brow stitches. Again, slide them if you need to make them lay nice and even like that. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space from the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Chain 2, 1, 2, and put a shell in the next shell from the previous row. One double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We will be working on the brows of the next 2 eyes, so put a single crochet in that half double from the previous row, and 7 single crochets over the chain 7 eye socket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, go ahead and slide your stitches again so that they are evenly spaced. And then 7, skip the chain 1 stitch, and then 7 more single crochets over the next chain 7 and through the second eye socket there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, and 7. I'm sliding my stitches to make them a little bit more even here. And I'm putting a single crochet in the half double crochet from the previous row. Okay. And I'm chaining 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Chain 2, 1, 2. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell from the previous row. And I kind of feel like I don't have to keep telling you what a shell is because we know by now it's 2 double crochets, chain 1, and in the same space 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We will be making the last 2 brows here, so go ahead and single crochet in the half double before that chain 7, 7 single crochets in this eye socket and over the chain. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to pull up more yarn here. Okay, we're going to skip this chain 1 space between the 2 eye sockets and do 7 more single crochets over this next chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, we are creating the brows for these two eyes. Look how nice they look. And put a single crochet in the half double from the previous row. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Put a double shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. So again, that's 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Okay, so there's 1 shell, chain 2, and in that very same space, put 1 more shell. Okay, this is our increase, so that we can have 4 skulls on the future rows that we will be doing. Okay, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and the last 2 double crochets in that same space to finish that shell and finish row 21. Whoops. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. There's your double shell. Turn your work, and we will be working on row 22 or row 16, a repeat of row 16, which is called the forehead and base. Okay, so just so you can see what we've done here. Right, so now, because we've got 2 shells, we are going to be chaining 7 between these, and that is going to create one of 4 faces that we are going to start building. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the first shell from the previous row, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and in that same space, 2 more double crochets to complete that shell, 1 and 2. Okay, got to pull more. Got a little knot going on here. See that? There we go. Pull out some more yarn. Okay, we've completed that first shell. Now go ahead and chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to skip the chain 2 space, which is between the 2 shells, because remember this is a double shell, and we're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of this second shell. So again, as always, 2 double crochets. There's 1, 2, chain 1, and in that very same space, put 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. 1 and 2. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we are going to skip the first stitch of the brow, okay, and we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My yarn keeps getting tangled here. And 6. And we're going to skip the last stitch right here. Going to skip that. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that very same space to complete that shell. Just so you can see where we are here. Okay, and now we're creating the second skull, so we are going to be chaining 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Place a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that very same space to complete that shell. 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we will be working on the brow, or excuse me, the forehead for the next space. Skip the first stitch, and then we are going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches of the brow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and single crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to skip the last stitch, and we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We are going to be putting a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that very same space to complete that shell. We're going to chain 7 to create yet another base for the third skull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We will put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets in that very same space to complete that shell. Okay, and we will chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We will be working on the forehead for this, so we will go ahead and skip the first stitch and single crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how we're creating that brow? Skip the next 2 stitches and then single crochet in the following 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to skip that last stitch right there. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and now we are on the end double shell. Okay, so we've got 2 shells separated by this chain 2. In the first chain 1 space, put a shell, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, a chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space to complete that shell. Now chain 7, and this is going to be for skull number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, skip the chain 2 space and put a shell in the chain 1 space of that last shell on this row. Okay, so 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 more double crochets in that very same space to complete this shell and also this row, which is also a repeat of row 16, chain 3. And now you can just continue on with your work, repeating rows 10 through 16, repeating rows 10 through 16 until your shawl has reached the desired length that you want it to be, okay? When you've reached the desired length you want it to be, then you will go to your directions and do the border and ending 6 rows, which are called 15A through 21A. Now, if you need me to come back and show those when I get to my desired length, I will be happy to do that. However, because of all the projects I got going on, I don't know how long it will take me to reach that point. Certainly, if I keep working on this and nothing else, I can get this done very, very quickly. But look for a part 4, the finishing rows. Again, I don't know how soon I will have that out. If you need help before then, certainly just go ahead and email me at Madison's Magical, that's magical with a K, not a C, at gmail.com, and I will be happy to help you. Hope you enjoyed part 3, and I look forward to working with you. I am thinking about doing an instructional video for beginners like myself in Portuguese knitting, which saves all the tension on your hands, your wrists, carpal tunnel problems, problems with your arm or shoulder. It's so easy and fun to do. So I thought I'd do an instructional video for beginners on Portuguese knitting because I've fallen in love with it. If you're interested in that, comment below, and certainly comment below with anything you'd like to share. If you think I should do a Patreon account so that I could do more crochet or knitting videos on a more full-time basis, I would be happy to do that. Of course, I can understand now why people create Patreon accounts so that they can have some support in creating these videos, because they do take quite a bit of time. I would say probably a good 9 hours probably for, you know, each video, 8 to 9 hours between the work that you're doing and all the editing and posting. So yeah, it is some working with you. Again, thank you for joining me on part 3, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. And remember, you are all amazing just as you are. Bye.